Hello, and welcome to the weekly service for Between the Worlds Church. Between the Worlds Wiccan Christian Church is intentionally radically inclusive, and we welcome all persons of any race, color, age, ancestry, sexual or relationship orientation, body size, gender, religion, or any other difference. We respect each other and remember that all of our beliefs are equally valid in the eyes of spirit. We love we love all the deities that are represented in our virtual congregation, and we include Jesus in our spiritual practice, however he may come to us. I'm Reverend Gina Pond, and I welcome you to our midweek online service. So, the announcements for today is that so the U.S. has switched to daylight savings time, but the Central European time zone has not and will not until March 31st. So the next couple of services for US folks will be an hour later. And then the first week, the April 3rd, will be the next time where it goes back to the 7 o'clock on the Pacific 7 o'clock Pacific time. So 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern. So 10 a.m., I should say. So it's just for the next couple of weeks, and then it'll be back to normal again. And again, just to remind everybody that I also stream both on here on YouTube and on Facebook, so you can catch me in both places. And also, I've updated the church page, so it's a little bit different now. But all the information about the services and the blog posts for the live streams are still there, so you won't be missing anything. So anywho, let us call in the elements. Spirits of east, of air, may we always gain new knowledge and the resources to recognize our truth. Spirits of the south, of fire, may we always call on our passion to drive us and to do the work that Spirit has called us to do. Spirits of the west, of water, may we always remember to acknowledge the feelings of others and find our compassion. Spirits of the north, of earth, may we always remember that no matter who we are part of the earth and that we are made from the earth and will go back to the earth. And spirits of the center, the community that which we are, may we always hold each other up through the bad and the good in any way we are called and able to serve. So today I am calling in I'm calling in Jesus today, but also all of the people, all of the ones that supported Jesus, like the disciples and Mary Magdalene, and there's actually several Marys, like his mother and like Mary of Bethany and all that. So I'm calling in Jesus and the people that have supported him today. So if you'd like prayer said for you, or if you have permission from another to have prayer said for them, you can post them in the chat or say them out loud to yourself. Today, I am saying prayers for those in the UK that are hoping that Brexit doesn't pass. It doesn't go anywhere because of the fallout that it could potentially have for the country. I'm praying for you all. I'm also praying for all those friends, family members, and other people all over the world who are doing what they can to take care of themselves, either by getting the treatment they need or doing self-care or doing what they need to do just to survive. And on a personal note, a good friend of my family's, Freddie G, is in the last stages of his fight with lung cancer, and it probably won't be long now before he passes. So I am thinking of him and praying for him right now. So so now if there are any other prayers that you'd like to say, just out loud to yourself or in your head, we have a moment of silence. Spirits of the universe, please hear our prayers. Right. So, today I'm going to read Mark 14, chapters 3 through 9. Now, hopefully I can. Here we go. So, while Jesus was in Bethany, reclining at table in the house of Simon, who was afflicted with leprosy, a woman entered carrying an alabaster jar of perfume made from expensive aromatic nard. After breaking the jar, she began to pour the perfume on his head. Some said to themselves indignantly, that would be the disciples, "What is the point of this extravagant waste of perfume? It could have been sold for over 300 silver pieces and the money given to those in need." They were infuriated with her. But Jesus says, "Let her alone. Why do you criticize her? She has done me a kindness. You will always have poor people among you, and you can do them good whenever you want, but you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body and is preparing it for burial. The truth is, wherever the good news is proclaimed throughout the world, what she has done will be told in her memory." So, I'll put this here. Sometimes this thing is just really big. Anyway, I get asked a lot by many people about how to do activism when they can't be out on the front lines marching in the streets. And there are many reasons why they can't be there or be public about their actions. And I have a bit of a list here. So some people are disabled and can't physically handle walking or worry that they will lose their medical walking aids if things go wrong in a protest. Some people have mental health issues that prevent them from being in huge crowds, or it makes large crowds a dangerous place for them to be in. Some people can't afford to take the time off from their jobs, or they're full-time caregivers for a family member or a friend, or that kind of thing. Some people can't protest publicly because they work for the federal government and would lose their jobs. Some people may be immigrants and can't risk their residency status. Some people may be in an abusive situation where the one who's abusing them believes quite differently from them, and if their abuser caught them, it could endanger their lives. And then some transgender, non-binary folks and gender non-conforming folks also fear being put in jail because a lot of times they will, especially with transgender folks, they will be put in the jail of the gender they were before they were transitioned. And it can be very, very deadly for them to have that happen to them. And these are only just some of the reasons why someone wouldn't go to a public protest. And while we need public protests and they're great, and the folks that have the capacity to go and do them, we also need them. But what I like to tell people is that we also need what I like to call the support staff. The people that will cook food, share their space for people to hang out in or decompress, do spiritual care, cleaning, the people who can, and then the people who can be the financial backers who sometimes quietly fund people and organizations to do the work they need to do. And then there's also the caregivers who take care of the children and the elderly, while those who can be the warriors can go out and do what they need to do. Basically, these are the people in the background who are doing their part to see change happen, no matter how that manifests. And none of the great prophets of the world did their work in a vacuum either. There was always other people they relied on to do in order to get their work done. I mean, Jesus had his disciples, Muhammad had his followers and his wives. The Buddha wouldn't have reached enlightenment without other people living their lives to show him what life was really about. So if you're worrying that you're not doing enough because another activist tells you that you should be doing what they feel is true activism, then I will tell you that you are doing what you can, and that is enough. There's so many things that need doing that only counting on one way to be an activist is a very narrow-minded thing. The very basic way to change the systems that cause Oppression is to work on oneself. Learn about privilege and oppression. Acknowledge that a lot of what you learned about oppressed groups was from growing up and was probably wrong. Figure out what the racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic thinking you learned and work to, figure out what that racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic thinking was and learn about it and work on changing it. Talk to and listen to people in oppressed communities. Challenge the other people in your life who are saying about their racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic, and other oppressive beliefs. If you can, stay safe. And then learn all you can and try to be the best person you can and live up to what Jesus calls one of the greatest commandments, to love your neighbor as yourself. And if bettering yourself is all you can handle where you are in your life right now, then that, I think, is still making a difference. Because not only are you working on being your best self, you are also being an example to others. But if you feel like you want to do more, then you can also find other ways to support those who do go out and protest. Cook food and feed people, or bring them water and other fluids. Make signs. And if you can drive, bring people to and from protests, or help pay for bus and train tickets. Give people a place to stay after the protest to rest and recover. Give rides to and from jail if any of them end up arrested. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of the things you can do. People can also give money to either organizations or individuals. You can educate others or use your privilege to protect people who are being abused by the system. Just remember, you are not inadequate in your activism just because there's something preventing you from being out on the streets. Just as there is no one true way to do religion, there is no one true way to be an activist. And also remember that you won't be perfect at it, right? And just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that you're a horrible person. In fact, I will say that you will make mistakes. And if you learn from them and grow, then you are still a good activist. You don't have to be perfect at what you do. You just need to go out and do it. So let us pray. Spirits of the universe, remind us that not everyone has the will or desire to be a warrior, and that being a warrior is not the only way to change things. Warriors also need the people who support them emotionally and physically, the creators, the carers, the lovers, and the scholars. Remind us that if we are not a warrior, our work in activism is also valid, no matter what others may say. In your many names, amen and blessed be. All right. So, I'd like to say thank you to Jesus and those who supported him, and to the Buddha too, because we brought in the Buddha and Muhammad, and all those who supported them in their ministries and in their work on earth. And thank you to the spirits of earth, water, air, and fire. And thank you to all of you who joined me today. May you go in peace and blessed be. Have a good week. Whoa, losing my microphone.